All right, guys, we're going to start chapter 15, lesson 1, using natural resources. So I'm going to speak pretty quickly, so I want you to listen. Make sure you have your textbooks out, opened up to page 534. All right, so here we're looking at a windmill farm, it looks like in Denmark. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a windmill farm before, but it's where windmill farms are found where there's a lot of wind throughout most of the year and it generates electricity. All right, let's look here on page 536, and it says Earth's resources. So this right here is actually a man-made river that's going through a desert, and it's taking water to Los Angeles, a place that would not normally have enough water to sustain the amount of people that live there. So they actually had to, this is an aqueduct system that it's man-made, and it brings water to this area, to this metropolitan area. All right, natural resources. It says you walk into a room and switch on a light. Where does the electricity come from? It might come from a power plant that burns coal or natural gas, or maybe rooftop solar system panels made with silicone, a material found in sand. The smallest microbe and the largest whale both rely on materials and energy from the environment. The same is true for humans. People depend on the environment for food, clothing, and fuels to heat and light their homes. Natural resources are parts of the environment that supply materials useful or necessary for the survival of living things. Some natural resources include land, air, water, fuels, trees, and minerals. All right, let's look at this question. What are natural resources available to humans? Available natural resources are land, air, water, minerals, and fuels. You may want to write that down. It's a good note. What are natural resources? Natural resources are parts of the environment that supply materials useful or necessary for survival of organisms. Non-renewable resources. So we're now on page 538, if you'll look with me here. How often do you travel in a vehicle that runs off gasoline? Well, that's the only kind of vehicle I have. Some of your parents may have a battery-powered vehicle, but for the most part, everyone right now still drives a gasoline-powered vehicle. It says, do you drink soda from an aluminum can or sip water from plastic bottles? Gasoline, aluminum, and plastic are all made from non-renewable resources, natural resources that are being used up faster than they can be replaced by natural process, such as fuels and minerals, are all called non-renewable resources. These resources, like plastics, gasoline, aluminum, they're being used faster than they're being replaced. These are a non-renewable resource. That's what the definition says. Non-renewable resources form slowly over thousands of years. If they are used up faster than they form, we will run out. All right, so what characteristic makes a resource non-renewable? It is used up faster than it can be replaced by natural process. Fossil fuels. Fuels including coal, oil, and natural gas, which formed from the decayed remains of organisms that died millions of years ago, are called fossil fuels. This is found deep within the ground. Fossil fuels are non-renewable because we are using them up more quickly than nature can replace them. Fossil fuels from underground, as shown in the picture. Coal is a mineral from the ground. Oil and natural gas are drilled from the ground. So coal, oil, and natural gases are all found deep within the ground. They're fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are used primarily as a source of energy. Many electric power plants burn coal or natural gas to heat water and make steam that powers generators. Natural gas also is used to heat homes and businesses. Gasoline, jet fuel, diesel fuel, kerosene, and other fuels are made from oil. Most plastics are also made from oil. All of these things we use pretty much daily, and they all come from oil, which is a fossil fuel, and is a non-renewable resource, which that means we are using it up faster than we're being able to replace it. Okay, because we use gasoline every day, and planes are flying every day, and diesel fuel is being used in trucks carrying. So all of these things are being used all the time. And plastics, there's probably not a day that goes by that we don't use something that's made from plastic. Minerals. This is another non-renewable resource. Fertilizers contain phosphorus and potassium, two minerals that promote plant growth. The human body is the human body also needs minerals for good health, including calcium and magnesium. People use minerals for many different purposes, including for fertilizers in building materials and other electronic devices. Minerals are found within Earth's crust. You want to remember that. Minerals are non-living substances found in Earth's crust. Gypsum is used in wallboard and cement. Silicon is important for the manufacture of computers and other electronic devices. Copper is used in electrical wiring. These are all minerals that we're talking about here: gypsum, silicon, copper. Uranium is a mineral that can be used as a source of energy in a nuclear power plant, such as the one in the picture. The nuclei of a uranium atom are split apart in a reaction known as nuclear fission. Some of the energy that is held in the nuclei together is released as heat, which is then used to boil water and produce steam to generate electricity. Like fossil fuels, most minerals form underground by geological process that takes millions of years. For that reason, most minerals are considered non-renewable. Some minerals, such as calcium, are plentiful. Others, such as large rubies, are rare. These are all found within Earth's crust. Now let's talk about renewable resources, and this is found on page 540. Supplies of many natural resources constantly renewed by natural cycles. The water cycle is an example. When liquid water evaporates, it rises into the atmosphere as water vapor. Water vapor condenses and falls back to the ground as rain or snow. Water is a renewable resource. So we have the same amount of water we've always had. We talked about the water cycle a few chapters ago, if you remember. Natural resources that can be replenished by natural process at least as quickly as they are used are known as renewable resources. These resources don't run out. They are replaced in a relatively short amount of time. They include water, air, land, and living things. All of these things can be replaced fairly quickly as they're being used. Renewable resources are replaced by natural process. Still, they must be used wisely. If people use any resource faster than it is replaced, it will become non-renewable. For instance, in this picture, we're looking at the deforestation of a forest where lots of trees have been cut at one time. Trees are living things and they are considered a renewable resource, but when you cut down that many in one particular place, that becomes non-renewable because it will take many, many years to be able to regrow a forest in that area because we cut down so many of those trees. So yes, some renewable resources can become non-renewable if they're not used wisely. If we use them quickly or more quickly, then they're replaced. Air. All right, so it says, did you know that plants produce almost all the oxygen in the air we breathe? Plants produce oxygen and release it into the air through the process of photosynthesis. We talked about this a few chapters ago when we were discussing the carbon cycle. You might recall that photosynthesis is a series of chemical reactions in plants that use energy from light and produce sugars. Without plants, Earth's atmosphere would not contain enough oxygen to support most forms of life. Alright, so let's see here. It says air also contains carbon dioxide, which plants need for photosynthesis. CO2 is released into the air when dead plants and animals decay, when fossil fuels or wood are burned, and as a product of cellular respiration in plants and animals. Remember that cellular respiration is a series of chemical reactions that convert energy from food into form usable by cells. Plants would not be able to produce oxygen through photosynthesis if the air did not contain carbon dioxide. And think back to that carbon cycle that we discussed that you guys drew a few chapters ago. As animals, as plants, they bring in oxygen. Excuse me. They bring in carbon dioxide and let out oxygen, and we use that oxygen. So, and when other animals eat plants, they're going to be obtaining that carbon that they need, that energy they need from that plant. All right, land. One of the main resources the land provides is fertile soil. Topsoil replenishes itself through plant decay and other natural processes. However, wind and water can carry it away, and rebuilding it can take hundreds of years. Renewable resources provided by land include wildlife ecosystems such as forests, grasslands, deserts, and coral reefs. So I'm going to pause right here and say the secret word for this video is going to be carrot. Okay, so I want you to, if you are listening to this video, I want you to email me and say the secret word for lesson 1 is carrot. Don't tell your other classmates if they didn't watch it. I will know if they don't email me. Okay, so email me the word carrot. So water is another renewable resource. Can you imagine a world without water? We have to have water. People need fresh water to drink. We also use this resource for bathing, irrigating crops, and running factories and power plants. Oceans, lakes, and rivers serve as major transportation routes and recreational areas. They are important habitats for many species, including some people depend on for food. So water, most civilizations have been built around water. So it's very important and it is a renewable resource. Most of Earth's surface is covered by water, but only a small amount of fresh water that people can use. And this water must be cleaned before you drink it. Due to the replenishment through the water cycle, the total amount of water on Earth is constant. A drought can cause supplies of fresh water to run short in many large cities. Water transported from hundreds of miles away meet the needs of residents. So that's like the picture at the beginning of the lesson, that man-made river, that aqueduct that brought water, fresh water, to Los Angeles. All right, so now we're going to talk about inexhaustible resources, and this is on page 542. A natural resource that will not run out no matter how much of it people use is called an inexhaustible resource. The sun is considered an inexhaustible resource. Wind is considered an inexhaustible resource. And geothermal energy. All of these are not inexhaustible resources. We can't use enough of it. It's always there. There's plenty of it. All right, and this is just a picture of solar energy, solar panels. Some of you may have solar panels at your home. Let's see here. People grow food in greenhouses, and so that's a way that solar energy can be used. Wind power, here's showing in this picture a windmill farm and how the windmill works to generate electricity. And here's geothermal energy. This is energy within Earth where heat is produced, okay? The thermal energy within Earth is called geothermal energy. Melted rock called magma heats water underground. The steam from the heated water can be used to produce electricity. All right, and that is all of lesson 1. So please email me the secret word. And I miss you guys, and I hope everything is going great. See you guys later. Bye.